Now Voyager. The 1989 Spring Racing Carnival, proudly brought to you by Foster's Lager, It's Got the Flavour, State Bank Victoria, and the new 1990 Nissan Pintara.
Six years before Archer won the first Melbourne Cup, the first Victoria Derby was run. Only 8 3-year-olds were competing, and to the dismay of some of the owners, trainers and jockeys, 2 of the colts left the track and didn't complete the race. That first Derby was won by Rose of May for stake money of £100. Today, the race is called the Hong Kong Bank Victoria Derby, with prize money of $753,000. And it has developed into one of the most prestigious and significant derbies in the world. It's a classic race based on the classic races of England, a race for 3-year-olds at set weights over a distance of 2,500 metres, a little more than 1.5 miles. The Derby has been won by some of the greatest champions of the turf, including the immortal Farlap, Comic Court, Tulloch and Dulcify. But the 3-year-olds are not the only champions who win the Derby. The Classic has been dominated by 3 of Australia's greatest trainers, Colin Hayes, Bart Cummings and Tommy Smith. Colin Hayes took the honours last year with a horse called King's High. And so it is, the Victoria Derby, a classic race for classy horses. Racing. He jumped all right, Survivor through his head. Sir Midas at the distance is 2 weeks away. His time through the right away. From Sir Midas and Victoria. King's High get inside. Sir Midas is coming at him late. King's High's about 3/4 in front. Sir Midas is going to his won't get there. King's High hangs on.
And good afternoon to you and welcome to Australia's greatest racing day of the year, VRC Derby Day here at Flemington. And I know that next Tuesday is the big one, the Melbourne Cup, but for all of us, if you really love horse racing and a great day out, this is the one we look forward to all year, and I know you're going to enjoy this wonderful afternoon with us. Well, late news on the Derby. We have a new favourite. Jimmy Cassidy, the jockey, had the pick of Bart Cummings' 2 mounts, Zamoff and Interstellar. Jimmy's decision to get off Zamoff and ride Interstellar has seen the bookies post a new market. I just got back from the ring a few minutes ago. They now have Interstellar favourite for the Derby, more than a point shorter than Zamoff, which is a point under each way odds. This afternoon begins a feast of racing here on Network 10 as we bring you our exclusive coverage of the VRC Spring Racing Carnival. Tuesday we kick off 7 o'clock in the morning when Kerry-Ann Kennelly and myself bring you Good Morning Australia live from the track here with all the last minute track work and tips. And then from 9:30 that morning right through the first Tuesday in November, we invite you to stay with us for all the colour and excitement of Australia's most famous sporting event, the Melbourne Cup. Thursday, the action continues. The ladies step out in all their finery for Ladies' Day, Oaks Day here at Flemington. The Oaks, of course, the 3-year-old Fillies Classic. Again, we bring you all the action live on Oaks Day from midday Thursday. And then next Saturday, the final day of the carnival. Once again, we bring it to you live from Flemington from midday. So a great 4 days of racing. And to bring you all the action from trackside, we have Peter Donegan, Graham Kelly and Gai Waterhouse with all the reports behind the barrier. My old mate Crackers Keenan. Bobby Mormel will be with the bookies in the ring, keeping us up to date on the betting and calling the races. One of the youngest, but one of the best callers in the business, Dan Malecki. And talking of best in the business, in our studio right now, the one and only Bruce McAvaney. Bruce, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. Great to be working with you again.
Good to see you again, Bruce. An afternoon already which has seen drama here at Flemington.
It has, and you're talking about the Melbourne Cup because this morning Apollo Run, one of the favourites, a horse that ran 4th last year, was withdrawn with a virus, and we've just heard there's a rumour sweeping the course that Hunter, 3rd favourite at this very moment, worked poorly this morning with Quarter Lister and may be coming out. We lost Almarat on Thursday night, so as Gibbo said, drama here at Flemington before a race is run. But we're all about the Melbourne Cup Carnival. 4 wonderful days of racing, and to officially open it, the chairman of the VRC, Mr. Peter Armitage.
Mr. Willie Purves, chairman of the Hong Kong Bank. Mr. Bales with the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Mr. David Carpen, managing director of Argyle Diamond Sales Limited. Mr. Neil Robertson, director of Honda Australia. With the presentation of these trophies for the 4 major events of the Victorian Spring Racing Carnival, the segment now in the hands of the VRC, I have much pleasure in declaring this carnival open. Thank you.
Chairman of the Victoria Racing Club, Mr. Peter Armitage, opening the Spring Carnival. It's going to be a great week. The Derby is a great race, and what a day of racing. As Mike said, every race a feature event. The favourites in the Derby, Zamoff and Interstellar. Zamoff was very impressive in winning the Herald Vase last week. It was a great run. He beat Stargazer. Was just too strong for him. Jimmy Cassidy rode him, but he's decided to jump off and get onto this horse, Interstellar, who was successful in the Geelong Derby trial. I was at Geelong this day. It was an amazing run. He's got that white strip of paint almost on his rear flank, and he's a terrific horse, Interstellar, and it's going to be a great derby. The McKinnon's the other feature. Who will forget this Bonnie mare last year? Empire Rose sweeping past Vo Rogue and going on for a memorable victory. Will she do it again, or will Vo Rogue bounce back? We'll be talking to Vic Rail a little later on. The first race, Maribyrnong Plate at 12:20. Big race for the 2-year-olds as we check the opening totes. And the favourite is Canny Lad. This is for 50 cents in Victoria, showing 75 cents for a win. Rory's Image 225, Manitou 440, Black Opera 850, Superstructure 1225, Stunner 1525, and Century Pike at 785. So the favourite is Canny Lad. Now the scratchings for the day, we're light on. In race 3, take out number 11 Stellarino, and then we go down to race 7, and number 1 Grandiose is scratched. So just 2 scratchings for the day. That's good news. Peter Donegan's in the mounting yard. And Peter, you are going to see the best horse flesh in Australasia today.
We are indeed, Bruce. Good afternoon, everyone. You know, this race course holds many, many meetings throughout the year, but there's something special about these 4 days in November, and it all kicks off today with Derby Day. What a magnificent day of racing we have in front of us. The track is fast, and the penetrometer reading for racing today, 3.2. With me, Channel 10 racing expert Graham Kelly. Graham, good afternoon. What a day we've got in front of us.
Good afternoon. It is a great day, Peter, and we're looking for great racing in the Derby, the McKinnon Stakes, and also the Dalgety.
Bruce has already mentioned the sensation of the day with Apollo Run coming out, and I believe you've got some more news on Hunter.
Yes, I've just spoken to his jockey, Jim Cassidy. As he was leaving the course, trainer Kerry Jordan rang him, said Hunter would not be running in the Melbourne Cup, and that leaves Jim without a ride at this stage.
All right, well, that's bad luck, but, well, it won't take anything away from today's racing. The 2-year-olds will be in the mounting yard shortly for the running of the first event on Derby Day.
Peter Donegan and Graham Kelly with the news that Hunter won't be running in the Foster's Melbourne Cup. Let's check the best bets from Peter and Graham today. Let's hope they can pick a winner here on Derby Day. And Peter Donegan and Graham Kelly, their best bets for the program, about to come up, and then very shortly we'll be going around to the betting ring with Bob Mormel. So the best bet in the first race is Canny Lad for Peter, the favourite, and Graham Kelly also goes for Canny Lad. He does look a special in race number 1. He's had 2 starts for 2 wins, and he looks the horse to beat. So Canny Lad. By some of the best 2-year-olds in the past, including Vane, and last year, the mighty Show County. Canny Lad's the favourite here, Peter Donegan. Do you think he's ever to call the Melbourne Cup? I say youngest ever officially because at 9 years of age he called a Melbourne Cup. It didn't actually go to air live, well, except I don't think it did, but he'll be doing it live this year and 60 million people will be listening to him. Helping Danny throughout the carnival will be a man who's ridden 2 Melbourne Cup winners. He's a great personality. He rode Piping Lane in '72 and Belledale Ball in 1980. It's John Letts. Dan and John, welcome to the Cup Carnival. And Danny, how did you sleep last night?
Well, Bruce, there's a lot to look forward to today, and I slept pretty well, but there was a lot of study on Thursday night and Friday night. But I've gone through the form with dual Melbourne Cup winning jockey John Letts. He's also won a Derby in 1975, John, and you know what it's all about. It's a marvellous race day.
It's a great race day, Dan, and you know the excitement is just building up on the track. I don't think I've seen Flemington look any better. It looks fantastic at the moment, and I'm sure with the great horses, great jockeys we've got here today, it's going to be a fantastic day of racing.
What do you like in the first? Good two-year-olds there, Kenny Ladd, Rory's Image.
Well, Kenny Ladd looks very relaxed in the mounting yard and looks terrific, and I'd say he was the one to beat. The most relaxed 2-year-old in the yard, I'd say.
Well, the runners are moving up for the first race of the day. The Maribyrnong Plate, $150,000 up for grabs. A Group 2 event, and the 7 horses are moving into the gates, and they're just about set.
And Danny, you better get the headsets on because the light's on and they're racing. And here's Danny with the first. Kenny Ladd just missed it, second from the left.
He got out fairly well though, Bruce. He's showing a little bit of toe. I don't know whether he'll get across in time or not. Superstructure going pretty quickly for Jimmy Cassidy, Manitou and Century Pike right up on the inside. Rory's Image is going to settle pretty well for Michael Clark. He's on the fence behind the leaders. Over the crossing they go, about 550 metres to run. Manitou is just in front. Out wider was Stunner, and Superstructure goes through in the centre, followed by Kenny Ladd. Rory's Image comes off the fence, but Clark behind a wall of horses at the moment. Century Pike over on the inside. There's 6 main chances and 5 lengths to Black Opera. 350 metres to go. Manitou held together. Dye gets stuck into the favourite, Kenny Ladd. Manitou in front, shaken up a half to Century Pike. Now Kenny Ladd comes at it, followed by Superstructure. Look at Rory's Image starting to flash out wide. Century Pike, the filly, goes to Manitou. Kenny Ladd comes at the pair of them. Kenny Ladd goes to Manitou. Century Pike, that great finish in the first. By the top, he's going to get home. Kenny Ladd wins by a length to Manitou and Century Pike. Rory's Image wants further, I think, and then Superstructure followed by Stunner. And Black Opera was back at the tail end of the field. Brilliant start to the carnival, John Letts.
Win by a horse, Kenny Ladd. It was a fantastic run, and you know I was one of those people at 200 metres from home. I didn't think he could win, and he's got a great future. This horse, a top racehorse.
He really found the post. I thought he was in a bit of trouble at about the 400, John.
It looked it. I thought when you called
Manitou's.
Yeah, Manitou and Rory's Image coming out wide when Michael Clark got him out from behind the pack, and I thought he was the one at the time, but Kenny Ladd, he put his head down and all he wanted to do was win, and that's what he done. And I think, what have they run, Dan? 57.2.
Very quick time, and he was very popular on the track. 70 and 60 were with the Victorian shoot pace. 155 for Manitou. He was a very good run, and take nothing away from the filly. The only filly in the race, Century Pike, was a very gutsy run.
Well, she was up there all the way. She did all the bullocking. She led up there with Manitou, and she's only finished, I'd say, at the most half, 3 parts of a length away from the winner. And gee, there's a lot of races around for her, but I'd say the first 3 horses, well, I think they're going to go a long way.
The way in, there's Pat Lawler, the chief steward. And that's what every punter wanted to hear. Correct weight on the first, Kenny Ladd winning from Manitou and Century Pike as we check the dividends on the Maribyrnong Plate. Kenny Ladd 70 cents and 60, Manitou 155, Century Pike no third dividend, Quinella $2.55, and the trifecta $19.75 on 137. 30, Afghan Rebel 260, Count Relegate 60, Snow Cheval 755, Submarina at 11.35, Xanadu 780, Zamchat $13, Polished Glass 44, Très Risqué 22, Escalation 24, and Force of Impact at $13. Opening totes race 2, selections from Graham Kelly and Peter Donegan in the second race today. Is it Nosy? No, it's not Nosy Night on the inside with his call of race 2, the Carbine Club Stakes, Dan Malicki.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Good field of 3-year-olds and 2 horses disputing favouritism, and Nosy Knight and Afghan Rebel. Let's show Cheval over on the inside, stablemate of Nosy Knight wearing a white cap. Escalation will be the last one to link up. in the Greg Manns colours. Ken Moses has the right here, placing Steve Sharman, and they're just about set for a start. Carbine Club over 1,600 metres. Light goes on. They stand well. Something not quite right might be Nosy Knight, and attended in with it, and also Trey Risque next to it, about barrier 5. Stand better. Light still flashing. Away and racing. Xanadu slow, so was Submariner, and Faraday out the back early. Show Cheval the best out from the stablemate Nosy Knight. Zamchat went up on the inside, and then Trey Risque, Key Dancer, Afghan Rebel 3 wide. Then High Waters, followed by Heavy Harry. Now going up around them wide in the early part of the race was Faraday, and Xanadu goes up to about midfield, followed by Count Relic. Escalation over on the inside, back about third last. Submariner next to last, and Polished Glass whips them in about 12 lengths off the lead. They've got 1,000 metres left to travel, and Trey Risque goes to the front, 2 lengths clear of Show Cheval and Nosy Knight. The 2 Lee Friedman horses second and third. Zamchat got up on the inside to fourth. Count Relic's out 3 wide. Afghan Rebel in 6th placing. A length and a half away Key Dancer, and they were followed going up on its outside by Xanadu. A length and a half further back then as they run up towards the home turn, Mabruk, and they were followed back on the inside by High Waters. Just behind those horses was Key Dancer as they approached the home turn. Escalation well back. High Waters is back to about fourth last. Faraday was very wide. Coming around the turn, 5.50 to go on the Carbine Club, and Trey Risque led. A length in front of Nosy Knight and Show Cheval. Count Relic wider on the track with Afghan Rebel running on fairly well, Mabruk. And then came Xanadu, followed by Zamchat. Running down to the 300 metres point. Nosy Knight goes to the front, and the bold long striders hit the front for Cassidy. Nosy Knight's a length in front, but coming in at hard the outside, Afghan Rebel. Here's Submariner right down the outside. Submariner coming in after them. Submariner goes up on the outside of Nosy Knight, Afghan Rebel. Escalation runs on well. Submariner just in front of Afghan Rebel. It's Submariner just in front of Afghan Rebel, and what a half length. Escalation got through late for third. Winding up on the outside was Force of Impact for about fourth. Then came Nosy Knight, Key Dancer, followed in by Xanadu, Trey Risque, Zamchat. Show Cheval next in from Faraday. Polished Glass, Heavy Harry, Mabruk, and Count Relic was back towards the rear end of the field.
Well, what a run by Escalation. I thought Escalation was the unlucky horse of the race. Never got a look at him any part of the race, and I see the jockey, S. Sharman, when they went over the line, he was just grabbing him off their heels, and I'd say Escalation out of the race was one to follow for sure. Greg Manns has got a great team of horses at the moment, but all honours with Submariner, trained by J.B. Cummings. What more can you ask for? Submariner, good win in the race. All the way through the race, I thought that Michael Clark gave Afghan Rebel a great ride. It's just a little bit unlucky that I think the leader came back to him a little bit soon, Nosy Knight, but oh gee, it was a great run by the winner, and Bart Cummings again. When they get out into distance races with young horses, or whatever age they are with Bart, he just seems to excel. But out of the race, I'd say number 15 was the one to follow. Escalation looked very unlucky to me.
Well, Bart Cummings could be in for a massive day, John Letts, because he's got the favourites in the Derby. He's got Tristan in the Wakeful and Rigoletto in the Gadsden. He's the winning trainer of Submariner, and Graham Kelly talks to the clay. It's certainly a race that's going to suit him. He looks like he wants a bit of distance. Here's the gap he got through here. He was probably just lucky enough to get that while Submariner was out with plenty of room. But look at Escalation right in the middle of the picture in the yellow cap.
You can see him himself there, Dan, where he's starting to run in himself. And Stephen Sharman's had to stop riding him. He straightened him up again, but it looks from the side on where we watch it from up here that he's caused the trouble himself, more or less, running in on top of horses. But he's only had 6 starts in a race, like 7 today, and it was a terrific effort, and I'd say he was the next winner for Greg Manns if Cole Diesel doesn't win the Melbourne Cup. But there he goes over the line. He's been beaten. What's the margin, Stan? It's been about...
Probably about a half a length.
Half a length, yeah, and they've run 1:36, which is 2 seconds outside of O'Rourke's track record.
Well...
$12.80 for 50 cents and $3.50. Afghan Rebel 90 cents. Escalation $7.15. Quinella $47.75. A massive trifecta $6,099.45. And with the presentation, $5.20. Region issue, every horse with a clear run, and it will be an exciting race. Victorian Totes for race 3. Hot Arches at $3.55. Impressionism at $3.10. Sculptured Arch at $9.10. True Label at 245, Gin Rhythm at 360, Dancer's Choice 520, Region Issue 595, Just As Mean 345, Surf Fear at 425, and over the page to London Road at $11.65. Bob Mormel out in the betting.
They're just going in now with the barrier attendants of Blackmores.
We better leave you there, Crackers, because they're racing. Here's Dan Malicki.
Caught them in a fair line. Just As Mean wasn't all that flash to begin, and Gin Rhythm was one of the best horses out. London Road is showing a bit of toe early with Regent Issue. Now going up into about 5th placing in the early part was Dancer's Choice, and True Label gets back, and so too does Sculpted Arch and Surf Fear. Settling down with about 900 metres to go, and Gin Rhythm was able to get over to the fence and lead. Just As Mean went up on the south side. They were linked at a half away. Dancer's Choice. London Road was next. They were followed by Regent Issue towards the inside. Surf Fear's deep, and they were followed by Impressionism. Hot Arch has got well back. He's back last at the moment, and second last was Sculpted Arch. True Label about 4th last. Just As Mean went up to take the lead. 5:50 to go. It's Just As Mean and Shane Dye. Over on the inside, Gin Rhythm. Dancer's Choice comes at them. Then came London Road, True Label, Surf Fear, and Impressionism starting to wind up. 300 metres left to travel. Dancer's Choice on the outside of Gin Rhythm. The two fillies together. Surf Fear starting to wind up with Harry White. And look at Impressionism and Darren Gauci. Impressionism comes after Gin Rhythm. It's Gin Rhythm in front. Impressionism trying to come at it. Gin Rhythm a length and a half in front. Gin Rhythm a length in front. Impressionism trying. Gin Rhythm hanging on though. And Gin Rhythm is going to win it by a length to Impressionism. Third home was Surf Fear. Running on was Hot Arch and True Label. Then Sculpted Arch, followed well back by London Road. Region Issue next in from Dancer's Choice, and Just As Mean knocked up and was the last horse to cross the finishing post.
Dan, they've got 9. 1-9 they've run, and I've got them over the last 400 metres. They're in 23 seconds, the winner, Gin Rhythm. And what a great run. It's Jimmy Cassidy's just sat on him all the way. He's done all the work out in front. And the horse, after they've gone 800 metres, he's run his last 400 metres in 23.22 seconds, which is flying. And 1-9, what's the track record? The track record is 1-8.4 held by Sky Faloo, and well, the track record is 1-7, isn't it? Ori Star. We can't expect them to get anywhere near that though, Dan, but oh gee, this horse, Bart Cummings, he's unearthed 2 champions here today, I'd say.
Great performance. Jim Cassidy getting the winning ride there, John, and rode it perfectly, really. She was never really going to be beaten. Impressionism started to flash, but he really found something, Cassidy, and Gin Rhythm responded, and she fought back.
You can't take anything away from the winner either. It drew barrier 11, came across to the flats onto the rail, and then the Impressionism threw on barrier 1s, had the run of the race behind it, and just couldn't run it down. And the margins on the line, what were they?
Probably about a length or just a bit over that, I'd say.
Yeah, and I'd say if Gin Rhythm had have went straight to the line, he looked to me as if he was loafing a little bit, getting to the line, and she was. And I think she'd have run 1-9 dead if she'd have gone, you know, right to the line.
Pat Lawler, the chief steward, jockeys weighing in after the Hilton on the Park. And we're about to get the correct weight or otherwise. Gin Rhythm, the winner. Jimmy Cassidy, Impressionism second. And Sophia third. So right to pay. Let's check the dividends all around Australia for race number 3. And a Gin Rhythm $3 and 105. Impressionism 120. Sophia 175. Quinella 11.15. And the trifecta $212.85 on the numbers 5, 2 and 9 after race number 3. And for the presentation on the Hilton on the Park, committeeman of the
Phar Lap. Before he did for racing what Bradman was doing for cricket. Before he strolled away with that 1930 Cup. He was just another yearling in a New Zealand sale. He was tall, gangly, angular. A bit of a street urchin, really. A $336 colt out of a mare who broke down after one race. This man bought him sight unseen. He liked the bloodline.
And how did you come to call Phar Lap Phar Lap? What does it mean?
Sky blink.
Oh.
Lightning, Siamese language.
Oh.
In 1928, Harry Telford trained from these stables in Sydney. And sometimes the feed man had to wait for his money. Telford was 51 and still waiting, as all battlers do, for the one horse who would change his life. He bought the colt for this man, David Davis, an American businessman. But after Phar Lap came off the ship, lean and covered with warts, Davis said he wouldn't pay 2 bob to have him trained. Telford then made the most brilliant decision of his life. He leased the horse from Davis. One of Telford's strappers was the son of a Cobb & Co coach driver. In the evening of his life, Tommy Woodcock would endear himself to another generation with his cup horse Reckless. In the care of Telford and Woodcock, and mostly ridden by Jim Pike, Phar Lap won the AJC and Victoria Derbies and 11 other high-class races as a 3-year-old. It was just a taste of the glory to come. At 4, he was even better. He and Don Bradman were the lights in the Depression gloom. As unemployment crept over 20%, as share prices slumped, Phar Lap hit his peak. In less than 2 months, he won 10 of the best races in the land. In the Melbourne Spring Carnival of 1930, he won 5 of the best races in 13 days, including that 1930 Cup. Look how easily he does it. Pike has fists full of rain and is easing him down.
I don't think we'll ever see his equal again.
Phar Lap was not only a champion, but box office too. An ongoing news story that read like fiction, but wasn't. Before the Cup, gangsters shot at him at Caulfield. He was hidden away at Geelong. On Cup Day, the float bringing him to Flemington broke down. He arrived just 40 minutes before the start. Phar Lap won 14 of his next 16 starts before Tommy Woodcock took him to Mexico for what was then the world's richest race. He won. The Americans raved about him. They still do. For Australians, it was the 30s version of the America's Cup win. 2 weeks later, the big horse was dead in California. We'll never know what killed him, but it was probably colic.
Then I brought him in the stable, and he done unmerciful squeal and hemorrhage, and he just dropped dead in front of me.
In America, his death pushed the Lindbergh kidnapping off front pages. In Australia, a nation went into mourning.
Farewell, Phar Lap. You have entered on the last and farthest lap of all. The mightiest horse that ever come out of Australia has gone to the same dust as that of the lowliest hackney of the hansom cab.
We elevated Phar Lap to that strange Australian shrine with its tragic heroes, Ned Kelly and Les Darcy, Burke and Wills, and the fallen youth of Gallipoli. This is the museum in Melbourne. Inside are treasures from the tombs of Egypt, wonders of natural science. But the most popular exhibit here is the mounted hide of a racehorse. Phar Lap, somehow immortal. Now there is another monument, here on the hill at Flemington. And another generation comes to stare, just as their great-grandparents did in this same place 58 years ago.
Phar Lap, eh? The Red Terror, forever part of Australian folklore. Well, here on Derby Day, we've got about 18 minutes to race for the...
She likes to rest, you know.
And how is she?
Oh, she's fine. She's fine. I just leave her now until just before the race and then do something with her. She just likes to relax, you know.
Now, Empire Rose, of course, is aiming to become the 5th horse to win back-to-back McKinnon Stakes and only the second mare. The last, of course, being Belmura led in 1980-81. Do you think you're a good chance?
Oh, they're all a good chance, though, aren't they? We have to wait and see.
How's she handled today? She had a bit of a gallop around at Flemington.
I think she'll be all right.
And what about all the attention from the people? Does she enjoy that?
Oh, she loves it.
And Empire Rose certainly is one of the crowd favourites. And today, all the people came down to her stall just to have a look at the giant mare. You've come down to see Empire Rose?
Certainly have.
Why's that?
The reigning Melbourne Cup winner, big run last week, should go very well today.
Favourite of yours?
Sentimental favourite being the Melbourne Cup winner, I suppose.
You've come down to see Empire Rose?
Indeed, yes, and we did last year also.
Do you think that she might bring you some more luck?
Yes, I think she did. We backed her in the McKinnon last year at 50 to 1, so we're a bit of a fan of Empire Rose.
You won't get those odds today, but do you think she'll win still?
Do, yes, and I think she'll win on Tuesday.
certainly a popular horse. Well, Bruce, it's almost time for the race coming up now. Empire Rose will be leaving her stall in a moment for a bit of a walk around the birdcage, but for the moment, back to you in the studio.
Eddie Maguire there with the Empire Rose, who we're just saying what